So hello and welcome. I'm Frederick Dunn, and today I'm collecting Bald Faced Hornets. You might be wondering why I would want to do that. Well, we need to locate their nest, and I thought that it would be interesting to teach my grandson how to locate the nest by collecting Bald Faced Hornets, which are really just wasps, not true hornets, by tying dental floss around their thin waist and then letting that string hang long, so that when they fly away, we can see exactly where they go. Not as easy as you might think, and I'm not talking about the difficulty in tying the knot on the wasp, but really tracking where they're going. This took quite a long time and lots of wasps flying. So you might be wondering, why is this wasp so groggy? Well, we knocked it out with CO2 in this little container, and I'm going to do a demonstration that's going to show you exactly how we accomplish that. This doesn't work on smaller yellow jacket species. They just can't tote the line. But these bald-faced hornets, bullet hornets, whatever you want to call them, can certainly carry long bits of dental floss. And we cut them as long as 6 inches. So that's 2 6-inch pieces once you tie the knot, and it helps us really see and track them. I highly recommend binoculars. I also highly recommend that you get a young person with really good eyesight to stand off to the side, because they go from this kind of groggy behavior where they do a lot of grooming and toe tapping to flying in a very short amount of time. So all of a sudden they just take off, and if you're not watching, you're going to have to do it all over again, which we did. So we just kept collecting them, tying floss on them, and sending them out. And in this video, I'm also going to show you, because we do end up finding the nest, so you're going to see that we collect the nest. I'm also going to relocate the nest into the woods, and then you're going to see what happens there. You may be surprised to find out that they are not the king of the trees the way you might think. These are considered aerial yellow jacket wasps, even though he's not yellow at all. They're clearly black and white. And you may have had encounters with these before. They are not at all friendly. In fact, once you cross paths with them at the end of the year, when the nests are huge, and this nest is about the size of a basketball, they definitely come out and they can sting you over and over. And look at the mandibles on their faces here. They can cut meat with those. Although, guess what they're doing this time of year? They're actually raising queens. And they're really after a lot of nectar. They can rob your honeybee hives. They can steal the honey. And they're really after sugars and sweets and things like that. So there goes the first one. And it takes off. And where does it go? High into a black walnut tree. So good luck trying to figure out where that is. So your best tactic is really to walk around with binoculars once we see different trees that they go to over and over.
Right, so
and see if you can spot the nest.
We have our bald-faced hornet in the tube, and we've got my knot half started, so I'm going to do a square knot, and we're going to knock them out with CO2. So we just close this up, and then we do CO2 through one of these holes. And I just hold my fingers over the holes until we see the abdomen of the wasp stop moving. And so now its abdomen stopped moving. So we're going to open it up. Dump it out in here. We have to move quick. So I've got my loop, and I want to loop it right on its abdomen, just like that. And we want to get clear of the wings. This can be touchy because it's starting to breathe again. Okay, so I want to cinch this up. There we go. Then I'm going to do the other part of the knot. That just means the knot won't tighten anymore. we go, but it also won't expand, so he can't get it off his abdomen, her abdomen. All right, we're good. And now we just wait for her to wake up and fly away. Abdomen starts to pulse again. Now this can become a game of patience, but you need to keep your eye on them, because even though they take a while to groom themselves and tap their toes,
The supervisor is here to make sure we do this right.
Once they recover, they fly off fast. So if you're not ready, if you're looking away, that's when they're going to go. This also gives you a lot of time to stare at them, look at them up close. They're not defensive right now because, again, we put them to sleep with CO2. And all they want to do is fly back to their nest at this point. We don't offer them any treats, so we're not giving them honey or sugar syrup or anything like that. We're just going to let them go and make the assumption, of course, that they're headed straight home. I mean, why would they go anywhere else? And she's off. So another one with a nice long white string hanging off of her, heading in the same direction. Now I can tell you, we actually discovered the tree that they were in, and it was not this black walnut tree. It was a smaller maple tree that is behind those trees. So sometimes they flew off, landed on a branch, and stayed there for a little bit. So you have to stay with them and keep watching, and then they eventually move on to their nest. I was unable to determine if they're rejected at the nest because they've got this floss hanging off of them, and we did not find any dead on the ground or around the tree where the nest was, so I assume they got in. So now let's fast forward to the 6th of October, and the first sequences there, we were marking them starting on the 21st of September. So this gives you an idea of how long it can take to find the nest. And the noises that you're hearing are the camera that I have on the end of a pole, and I'm pushing it up into the tree so that I can get you nice and close to this aerial wasp nest. And of course they're not happy to see the camera up there, so they come out and try to sting it. It doesn't care, and of course I'm on the ground extending this up. The ladder in the background that we see the top of is a 12-foot ladder. So I'm going to guess that this is right around 13 or 14 feet off the ground. You can also see that there's a chicken coop right there in the background. So this is not very far at all from where we were marking the hornets and sending them out. So in this video, I'm going to climb that ladder and I'm going to collect this nest and we're going to transport it. The numbers are pretty high this time of year, but there were a lot of surprises here, and this is not the first time I've relocated a wasp nest. I've done it several times with yellow jackets. This time we're just moving a bald faced hornet nest because I don't want them right near our building here. We're going to move them to the woods, but it's not as smooth as you might think. And I don't mean because they're going to sting you. Sure, they try to do that. But they really don't want to go with the nest. And at a time of year when their brood is ending, all they're doing is producing queens, remember now? And those queens would overwinter by themselves. So the nest is basically losing numbers of bald-faced hornets just through attrition. There are some drone bald-faced hornets flying around. Again, just to reiterate, they're not true hornets, it's just what they're called. And they are in the yellow jacket family, so they have an unpleasant disposition. And if I
I were not wearing protection when I climbed that ladder, it would not be fun at all. If you just take your time and move slow, you won't really draw that much attention. They're defensive, but if you're protected, they're not going to get you. By the way, you may be wondering if they reuse this nest next year in the spring, and they don't. So these are cellulose nests. That's why they're called paper wasps, basically. And they degrade constantly from the weather and the damage from wind and storms and things like that. And of course, the resident wasps just continue to restore it, rebuild it. And that's why you see all the different layers and color variations on the face of it. And this is a nice big one, I have to say. I've collected lots of them. You can also just take a trash bag, climb up there, put a trash bag around it, clip it off, drop it into the trash bag, and tie it off, and you're done. You can do that at night. This is how it's situated. Pretty impressive, I have to say. And also notice that when they put their nests out on the branches, it's usually out on the ends of the branches, the thinner branches, not right next to the strongest parts of the tree. And in this video, we're also going to learn why they do that. If these wasps built their nests right up against the tree, it wouldn't last long because there are animals that come and eat them. And of course, that was my cell phone up there at the end of the pole, just getting some still photos and some other video. They're really bouncing off that branch. There we go. Trying to get some more video sequences before we take the nest down. I like to get as many photos and video sequences as I can, just so I'll have the stock. And that is a natural apiary bee suit that I'm wearing. And I also have an EZC panel on the face of it. Highly advisable to protect your eyes when you're around wasps. They can spritz their venom on you. Not good. You don't want to get that in your eyes. Plus, you see better. That's why it's called the EZC. So just panning around with my camera there. Now we're done with that, we can come back and actually take some clippers and cut the branches and remove the nest. Had to move the ladder closer, of course, come up through the branches so I can get close enough to clip it and hopefully take it in one piece, because what I'm trying to do, remember, is relocate it to the woods, and I want to be able to see it, see what happens to it as time passes. So that's it, easy peasy. So I already have a pre-established spot in the woods to hang them up. I'm going to put them on a clamp, use a magnet, stick them to a hinge. This is a spot that I relocated several wasp nests this year, and I didn't get a sense of the size of it. It is pretty big, but guess what we're not hearing? You're not hearing the bald faced hornets. Most of them stayed on the tree that I took them from. Hugely disappointing. There are larvae inside. There are some young wasps inside that weren't ready to fly, I guess, because they stayed in. And now we're going to let nightfall come. We've got cameras, as you can see, all around. So we're going to see what happens to them. And the first ones on the scene were kind of a surprise, because what shows up? Raccoons, of course. This is why wasps that build their nests right close to the main core of a tree don't survive. How these raccoons figure out that they're going to be here, what they smell, what they hear, is anybody's guess. But if they can reach a yellow jacket nest, bald-faced hornets, or otherwise, they come right in and start eating. And I got this from a couple of different angles, so I'm going to show you a repeat of that. That raccoon took it right down all by itself. There's two raccoons on the ground. They got part of the nest off earlier, and you can see these are good-sized raccoons. I'm actually glad it wasn't a bear, because black bears are in the area, and they also like to eat wasp nests. And that's it. So much for relocating a wasp nest and watching how they progress. If you have them anywhere near a tree, I should have suspended paracord or something like that between trees and hung it out well away from the center so that these raccoons couldn't get to it. Because all I ended up doing was feeding a bunch of wildlife. So I'm going to leave you to watch the rest of this video, and you're going to see an opossum. You're going to see skunks, and of course more raccoons. You're also going to see the reaction of white-tailed deer that pass through. They are not at all happy to see a bald-faced hornet nest on the ground or otherwise. So it's basically now just a feast for wildlife. Now back at the maple tree that they were in, they did fly around for a while, several days, and then eventually there was nothing left at all. So I have no idea where they went. Maybe a lot of them are queens and they're moving off on their own to have a solitary existence through winter, and then each of those queens will start a brand new nest in spring. So I hope you enjoyed watching this. Maybe you got some ideas on how to handle your own bald-faced hornet nests or yellow jacket nests, and I definitely want to caution you that you should be very well protected before you attempt it. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. I'm Frederick Dunn, and this has been The Way to Be about wasps.